I have a one-page handout for each of you. They are in color for those of you who are enjoying that sort of thing. And they're black and white on the back. So the back side is a testimonial, and the front side is a guide, the key. So the core of what I'm sharing in the next 40 minutes is on that front. Before we begin our quick overview of LinkedIn, I would like you to just quietly focus on this 6-minute video and see how it might affect your career in a positive way. That's the twist, yes? In a positive way. Part of the reason for this video was to help us appreciate why it's worth being at the top of a search list. With so much information, I'm guessing that many of us in the room are suffering just a little bit from information overload. Yes? How many of us are internet-enabled, email-driven, and sleep-deprived? All right, that sort of fits the profile, yes? So, do we imagine corporate recruiters might be in the same profile? Independent, contract, retain, all kinds of recruiters. They're going to be looking for the lowest common denominator, the easy way to find their short list of folks to screen and to consider whether or not they present them to the client, internal or external, for an interview. Phone call, phone interview first, right? So they will get me the short list quick and easy. And the way to get on that short list a little easier is to be on the top of search engines, or in this case, LinkedIn. Message to make for yourself. A little note on that piece of paper. Narrow my focus to broaden my appeal. That's the message that I'm sharing with you. Narrow my focus will broaden my appeal, or to broaden my appeal. What I've done for you is looked at the LinkedIn profile, done a little experimenting in quality control, just did some analysis, and found out how many characters maximum can be entered into each field. The next step was to discern, analyze, find out which fields are used for sorting or ranking the profiles when you do a search for something, shall we say, project manager. Whose name shows up first? Mine. It used to. Thanks to a gentleman by the name of Dennis O'Hagan. How many know him? I have Dennis O'Hagan to thank. So when you see him, please let him know that I am publicly thanking him for opening the door and being the compulsive, insecure overachiever that my mother raised, along with 8 younger siblings in a 1-bathroom house, teaching me project management long before Harvard ever got it. And giving me long-winded and a voice that carries and stuff like that. I looked at this and said, what can I do to go through the door and run up the stairs to get to the next level? But notice it's in yellow. If it's in yellow on the sheet, it doesn't increase your ranking. Any of the keywords you put in the yellow aren't interesting for people to look at, but the computer is ignoring them. Is that worth knowing? Aha, right below summary. Now specialties is in green. That one, don't waste any space. Keywords, there aren't any commas in mine. Why? Comma doesn't communicate any information. It makes it easier to read. You know, around 1,000 years ago, 1,200 years ago, somebody introduced punctuation, spaces between letters and stuff like that. We heard of Carolinian minuscule, and we take all kinds of tangents. But the commas don't add value for a computer when they're doing the ranking. They're just looking for the exact match word, not misspelled version, exact. Abbreviations aren't the same thing. SOX for SOX or Sarbanes-Oxley, those are 2 different keys. And they don't look for SOX, give you 1 point. Sarbanes-Oxley, give you another point. You have 2. No. If you search on Sarbanes-Oxley, they give you 1 point. If you search on SOX, SOX, they give you 1 point. But they don't add the 2 together ever. Am I making sense? It's a dumb keyword search. It's okay. It helps us if we know the rules. I'm not about breaking rules. So think of the green as the headlines. Put your keywords in the headlines. Put the meat, put the body down in the text for people to read after they get interested in your headline. Fair enough? least, a bit of magic here. Well, I think it's a clever wisdom. Let's go to the last line on the page. Circle the references word. Now, on each job assignment that we've identified, work experience, if we can get a person of any relationship to write a recommendation on LinkedIn for that experience, the keywords associated with that particular experience get counted twice. Oh, is that reasonable? If I'm a senior level engineer, a fellow maybe at TI or something, and I get one of my partners to recognize me for some of my work, what they say about me it doesn't matter to LinkedIn. For sorting purposes. To the people who read it, it'll matter. But what they say about me doesn't matter for ranking. Just the fact that they've submitted a recommendation. Because the keywords show up in the profile, up where I wrote them in the work experience, and they show up again down in the reference endorsement section. Got it? Is that worth knowing? So, if we have 20 people in our Rolodex, whatever, our contact database, who might be references for us throughout our career, and some of them maybe could give us references for more than one position because we've worked with them off and on for the last 15 years, think about it, allocate your references so that they're distributed across as many of the different positions as possible. If you think you have too many references or endorsements, you can just hide a couple of them. Who knows? Maybe you display some of them this week when we're focusing on one target job opportunity, and then we discreetly hide them the following week and display some different ones. It gives a little bit different slant to our profile. One, in my opinion, one cannot have too many valid endorsements. And they can find out if there's, hokey ones and all that. You get the point, right? Information we're sharing so far, you're still learning something? Yes. And by the way, who in the room has already decided that no matter what question I ask, you are not going to raise your hand? Thank you for playing along. You get the point. Okay, is the guide worthwhile? Yes. Okay, fine. You've got your money's worth then. So now we can move on to the testimony. How does this work? I could ask first. Questions are more powerful than answers. Yes, sir? Right?
Take a question. On that last, what you mentioned about the references.
Yes.
Does the reference, the person who writes the reference or the reference quote itself, have to have the particular keywords in it in order to get the double counting? In other words,
I see what the question is. Does the content of the reference matter? The answer is no. What simply matters is that the binary choice. Is there at least one recommender for this experience? And it is the keywords that I put in the experience that are counted twice. What the endorser says matters not at all.
They don't need to use the particular keywords that match.
Keywords don't, because the keywords are automatically copied from the work experience they're endorsing me on. Yes? How did I introduce myself here today? David Lanners. If I don't hear your name, well, the rest of what you say, frankly, doesn't matter. If we're overloaded with information, the last thing I want to do is try to squeeze too many words into 10 seconds. My name is David Lanners. How many remember what my expertise is? Project program management. Does this sort of look like what my LinkedIn profile is kind of reinforcing? And this is one of the benefits you will get from narrowing your focus on LinkedIn. To get yourself to be ranked near the top, you're going to narrow your focus by the keywords you choose. As you choose those keywords, you're going to get better in touch with the gifts God has given you and make your unique DNA of value to the rest of us in this room. There is something that you are better at than anyone else in this room. A combination of things. That's the gift you were given. If you can find a way to express that on here, somebody will want to hire you to do that.